でも今じゃそんなこと忘れて何かから逃げるように前のチャラが見過ごしてた景色は億千万億千万突き去りしきさずはグラビティ君がくれた勇気は億千万億千万過ぎ去りし季節はもうドラマティー
Greetings, friends. Buzzsaw the Righteous here, and I am sure you've guessed by now, but I am a huge fan of the Mega Man series. My respect for the series, however, goes far beyond simply loving the games and using Metal Man as my avatar. While the first games I played were old Atari 2600 games, and my first NES game was Super Mario Bros., it was Mega Man 2 that first opened my eyes to video games as an artistic medium. The series has stuck with me ever since, and I am so happy it is having a resurgence today, with Mega Man's inclusion into Smash Bros., a couple of legacy collections, and a new game coming out in October of 2018. And to celebrate this auspicious occasion, this top 10 is dedicated to one of the most important features of the Mega Man games, the Robot Masters. Every time a new game is announced, I think to myself, what will the new Robot Masters be? What will their weapons be like? What will their levels be like? What will they be weak against? What's their favorite hobby? Do they like puppy dogs? Can I have their freaking autograph? I mean, I really don't need their autograph, and I really don't care what they like or don't like. I mean, I'm sick. Anyway, for this list, I will mention 10 of my favorite Robot Masters from the original Mega Man series. I will only mention one per game, and I am also including the Game Boy series as well. More on that in a moment. Finally, I'm not just going to consider the Robot Master themselves, I will also consider their weapon, their level, the enemies in said level, the music, and the themes surrounding the Robot Master itself. And I will rank them based on this criteria. And as this is a strictly personal list, if you don't see your own favorite on here, mention it in the comments or on Twitter. Hey, this is my list after all. So, ready? Let's go. It's sad. It seems like no one talks about the Mega Man Game Boy games anymore. Why is that? Do people think they're not worthy of mention anymore? Are they just cheap remakes to everyone? You know, I'm thankful to countdown artists like Quarter Guy, who at least brings some awareness back to these games of yesteryear and gives them the due they deserve. Quarter Guy, your videos are awesome, you have a style all your own, and you're probably a much better Mega Man fan than I. You rock, dude. Anyway, while the first 4 games in the Game Boy series do reuse Robot Masters from the NES series, they are far from cheap remakes. They have new level layouts, new storylines, at least detailed in the manuals, new Wily bosses, and one new aspect that the NES games do not have, the 9th boss. Or if you want to get technical, the Mega Man Killers. The first game gave us Anchor with his energy-absorbing and releasing staff. Mega Man 2 gave us Quint with his jackhammer pogo stick. Yeah, Quint is just sad. And then there's Punk, who throws buzzsaws and turns into a buzzsaw himself, so you'd think he'd be a shoo-in for this list. Huh? Huh? But no, that'd do a disservice to Blade. He's just freaking awesome! Out of all the Mega Man killers, Blade is definitely the strongest and toughest to beat. In Mega Man 4, he seems like a pushover the first time you face him, but the second time, get ready. His jumps are unpredictable, and he can leave his Blade crackers sitting on the ground without warning and even shoot them at you at times. You can destroy the Blade crackers with your weapon, but be careful, the blast can still damage you if you are close. Beating him is incredibly satisfying, and his weapon behaves a lot like the Metal Blade, as you can fire it in several directions. which works in your favor as you escape Wily's exploding fortress. Really though, I can't rank him any higher because he doesn't have a level of his own, unless you count his DLC level for Mega Man 10, which is pretty cool. But what really pegs him as my 10th favorite is this moment. At the end of Mega Man 4, after beating Dr. Wily, Mega Man tries to escape Wily's self-destructing spaceship, and it seems there is no escape when an injured Blade shows up. Remorseful of his actions, he aids Mega Man by blowing himself up and helping Mega Man to get out of the ship before it explodes. Wow! Magma Dragoon in Mega Man X4 may have made the plot of that game interesting, but that was betrayal. Blade in Mega Man 4 for the Game Boy really stopped the show with the trope of noble sacrifice. And that didn't just make a good game, it won my deepest respect. Rest in peace, Blade. They did it! They really finally did it! I hope you don't think I'm being sexist or misogynistic by putting Splash Woman so low on my countdown. I'll have you know that Splash Woman, the very first Lady Robot Master, is awesome. I like her mermaid motif and how she attacks with her trident and how she summons mechanical fish by singing. What's not to like about her? Well, I guess I ranked her low because she's just too easy to beat. Heck, as Mega Man, she's the first boss I take on. Also, while I like the stage music, the stage itself could have looked more in tune with Splash Woman's mermaid style, though I like the use of robot octopuses in this stage at least. I know the stage taking place on a sea base is inescapable, but it could have been decorated with more sea rocks or coral. Make it look more like an ocean level, you know, to give it more charm, more pizzazz, like in Disney's A Little Mermaid.
Swing this river, dance and play. It's very easy, come on and just take a chance and shake a feet. No, 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 hell no, no, no.
I completely agree. Keep that finny fun abomination away from my Mega Man. Despite the things missing, Splash Woman is pretty cool. She is weak to Hornet Man's Hornet Chaser, and her weapon, the Laser Trident, is probably one of the best weapons to be acquired in the game. She's proof positive that in the male-dominated game like Mega Man, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of girl power. I wouldn't be at all surprised if the inspiration behind the Mavericks in the Mega Man X series was the animal-based Robot Masters in the original series. I mean, you got Toadman in Mega Man 4 who pelted you with acid rain. You got cat-themed Robot Masters like Slash Man for Mega Man 7 or Pluto for Mega Man 5 for the Game Boy. You got Hornet Man for Mega Man 9 who attack you with homing hornets. And you got Sheep Man and who the frickin' frack thought of Sheep Man?
You are one pathetic loser.
Other than this one tiny notable exception, the animal-based Robot Masters were very inventive, and of course, it all had to start somewhere. And like the fall of Eden in the Book of Genesis, it all started with a snake. First of all, I have to ask, what kind of level is this? Is this a warehouse with snakeskin wallpaper? A humongous reptile house at the local futuristic zoo? Well, it's pretty cool, albeit a bit confusing. The Game Boy version of Mega Man 3 had Snake Man's stage take place in a jungle. Now that was more believable. Aside from the pole vaulting springing enemies and Hammer Joes among others, there are also snakeheads to contend with here, both big and small. The big ones really made you feel like dealing with a giant snake. Yikes! And the stage theme really keeps you on the move too, right up to the fight with Snake Man. It's interesting to note that in the fight with Snake Man, he mostly keeps to the ground, except when he gets to the middle of the screen, where he leaps up and fires out 2 search snakes to attack you. It's just fascinating how he mostly stays to the ground, almost like an actual snake slithering about, which really magnifies the whole animal theme that he represents. He is pretty easy to beat, and it wasn't until later in life that I found out that he is weak to Needleman's needle cannon. The weapon you get from him, the Search Snake, fires out a mechanical snake that slithers along the ground and up a wall until it hits an opponent, which isn't all that great in the grand scheme of things, but still pretty creative. He may be a cold-hearted snake, but he's still pretty cool in my book. As I stated in the beginning, whenever a new Mega Man game comes out, the first question that comes to mind is, what will the Robot Masters be? When Mega Man 5 was announced, they announced their Robot Masters soon after, and I was indeed beset with a lot of questions about them. And it wasn't until after I finally got the game and played it that I understood more. For example, when I heard about Charge Man, I assumed maybe he could be an electric-themed Robot Master, and it wasn't until I learned more and then got the game that I realized his theme was centered around trains and momentum. An interesting concept, to be sure. So when I heard about my choice for number 7 and eventually got the game, I was blown away. No pun intended. The first thing I asked myself when I heard about Napalm Man is, what the heck is napalm? Remember, I was a kid back then and didn't know any better. So I looked it up and found that napalm was typically, and in layman's terms, a mix of a gelling agent and gasoline or other fuel used as a sort of a firebomb in various wars throughout modern history.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
This kinda works for the theme surrounding Napalm Man, as he is basically a walking tank. Not to mention that the first half of his level is a jungle filled with vicious robot tigers, an underground filled with giant drills, waterfalls, and flying Joe turrets, and the latter half of the level is an army base with missiles coming at you every which way. All of this as the most amazing level music plays in your ears. And let me tell you, Napalm Man is definitely no slouch. He is the last boss I typically fight, and he is best beat with Crystal Man's Crystal Eye. He jumps around, fires his napalm bombs at an arc which explodes upon impact, and shoots a straight volley of missiles at you, so he's definitely a challenge. Sadly, he loses points because the weapon you get from him, the napalm bomb, doesn't get much use other than using it against Stone Man for all it's worth. Still, gotta love that theme music. What can I say? I love the sound of Napalm Man in the morning. I talked about the Mega Man Game Boy games earlier in the countdown and how it reused Robot Masters from past NES games. But then, verily, a surprise would come along. Mega Man 5. A whole new story, a brand new weapon that's basically a souped up version of the Hard Knuckle from Mega Man 3, and all new Robot Masters. Or if you want to get technical, again, here they are known as Star Droids. Powerful robots from deep space named after all 9 planets of the solar system, and no, just no, we are not going there.
Attention viewers, sometimes on this show we walk the fine line between pronunciation and pronunciation. If you go there, you'll come back different.
Anyway, you gotta love the subtle references that each Star Droid represents. Mars is yet another walking tank like Napalm Man and is the perfect reference to the Roman god of war. Saturn is an excellent representation of the very planet he is based on, ring and all. Jupiter is based off of Sailor Jupiter, I guess? Oh, and look! We even get to fight the T-1000! Oh, wait, no. His name is Mercury. Sorry, my bad. Is it the subtle Terminator reference? I don't know. I always fancy myself a bit of a sci-fi buff. Aside from that, Mercury is a good starter Star Droid to begin with in Mega Man 5. His level, being a freaking factory, is filled with conveyor belts that change without warning, boxes that drop from the ceiling, a rising falling floor, and of course, Mega Man's most mortal enemy, spikes! Despite all this though, this level is shockingly fair. The enemies are easy to manage once you know their patterns, and this level is a neat way to stock up on P-chips. Yes, this was currency before bolts and screws came along. You can get through it after a couple of tries, and even if you have a few scratches, the boss battle with Mercury is pretty dang easy. Though he is weak to Saturn's black hole, he can go down pretty easy with the Mega Arm. Shoot him quick before he hits you with his Grab Buster, because if he hits you with it, it won't just rob you of your energy, it will rob you of your P-chips, weapon energy, and even your friggin' E-tanks! And prepare to jump or move under him when he melts and moves to the other side of the screen. Yes, this is why I like him so much, and why I made that T-1000 reference earlier. Mercury lives up to his actual name. He is made of liquid metal. Liquid freaking metal! And he applies it in how he moves. How awesome is that? The Grab Buster is cool too, as it can be used to steal enemy energy as you obliterate them. Now that's a twofer. Mercury may not be the toughest, but he is certainly a unique start to a unique and underrated game. Thumbs up. I originally had a spot of honor for Flame Man from Mega Man 6. While his weapon was rather mediocre, his design and level layout was original, and I loved his Arabian Nights style of 8-bit level music. However, another Robot Master from the same game stole my heart. Now this is a level with atmosphere! Taking place in what appears to be a desert canyon, fighting against desperado robot sharpshooters in the first half, and the music. Oh my gosh, the music! It makes you feel like you are in a fast-paced Western sci-fi action movie. Make note of that music as you make it halfway through the stage to this particular moment. Man, when they take symbols like that and put it in 8-bit, it makes for an awesome experience. You also find Proto Man here, and he gives you the Energy Balancer, the first appearance of this helpful item in the series. And you know what? I haven't even talked about Tomahawk Man yet. How stupid am I? Believe it or not, out of all the Robot Masters in Mega Man 6, I found Tomahawk Man to be the most difficult. Basically, try to keep your distance from Tomahawk Man, as he is pretty jump crazy. Watch for his attacks as he switches his Silver Tomahawk and his Feather attack rather unpredictably and frequently, and he is weak to the plant barrier. And while I said earlier that Flame Man's weapon was pretty mediocre, you definitely get more use out of the Silver Tomahawk, especially in the final battle against Dr. Wily. Tomahawk Man may be hard as heck, but he is the glistening cherry on a sundae of great atmosphere. Well, I already talked about animal-based Robot Masters. Now let's talk about the kind of Robot Masters that would make Optimus Prime and Megatron proud. The ones that are vehicle-based. Where do I start? Nitro Man becomes a motorcycle, Turbo Man turns into a race car, I already talked about Napalm Man and Charge Man, them being based off of a tank and a train, respectively. And ironically, in the same game, Gyro Man is based off of a helicopter, even using his freaking rotor blades as weapons! Man, I gotta say, Mega Man 5 is the game where the previous 3 Robot Masters bring new meaning to the term vehicular homicide. But, like Snake Man at number 8, my favorite is the one who started the concept. So, without further ado...
Prepare for Dave!
I know I complained about Splash Woman's stage earlier being too much like a sea base and less like a stage based around her mermaid theme. Thinking about it now, I realize that her stage was basically Dive Man 2.0 with a bit of Mega Man 5's Wave Man thrown in the mix. At least Dive Man justifies the sea base motif because he is based off of a freaking submarine! His level is pretty cool with jumping fish, robotic stingrays, oh looky, more spikes, exploding sea mines, rising and falling waters, and 2 robotic Moby Dicks! 2 other things. You get the wire adapter here, a fun, if not underused little addition here, and you can get the best use out of the Rush Marine here. I liked the Rush Marine, it was fun. But look out! Dive Man may be based off of a submarine, but he is as hard to beat as a real one. He has 2 attacks, a forward charge, kind of like a torpedo, and shooting 2 dive missiles that seek you out. He's weak to the skull barrier, so jump over his charge, switch to the Mega Buster to negate his missiles, rinse and repeat. Though I like Dive Man's stage and how he attacks just like a submarine, I also like his weapon, the Dive Missile, as it is the first true homing weapon in the Mega Man series. Well, yeah, there was the magnet missile from Mega Man 3, but it just attracted to the first enemy and went off screen if it didn't connect. Not exactly a proper homing missile in my opinion. Anchors away, sailor. I say you've earned your stripes. Well, friends, it's the top 3, and it's time to talk about the original Mega Man. Hard to believe this was the second Mega Man game I played in my lifetime, after Mega Man 2. Come to think of it, I played Zelda 2 and Castlevania 2 first before I played the originals. I guess I suffered from sequelitis before Ego Raptor made it a thing. Anyway, while the first Mega Man may not have been a commercial success when it initially came out, it certainly found its way into the hearts of video gamers today. It had things that the later games didn't have, like a point system, no E-tanks to speak of, so the difficulty was pretty up there, and only 6 robot masters. You got bots that attack with ice, fire, bombs, and even a pair of scissors, but nope, my most favorite of the bunch throws a rock. And no, that joke's been too overused for its own good.
It was a big rock.
Shut it! On the surface, Gutsman does seem pretty basic. He only has 2 attacks, shaking the ground and flinging boulders that sometimes fall from the ceiling at you. If you jump at the right moment, you won't be stunned by his earthquake, and if you stay on the rocks near the door, it will be easier to jump over his boulder when he flings it at you. Simple, right? Not really. He'll start coming after you real soon, so be sure to come here after you get Bomb Man's Hyper Bomb. He'll be even trickier to beat in Dr. Wily's castle when you fight him again, as there are no boulders to stand on to help you clear his projectiles, so you better jump high. His level fits his motif as a construction robot, as it is one big construction zone, complete with the first appearance of the Metals in the series, a giant chasm with a moving platform I had trouble with as a kid, and pickaxe-throwing enemies. And his weapon, the Super Arm, where he can pick up and throw certain square objects, may seem kinda gimmicky, but it is incredibly useful and powerful, and it helps you get the Magnet Beam in Electman's stage, which you definitely need to beat the game. So, how come I put Gutsman so high? Well, turns out Gutsman has more mileage in the series than you realize. In Mega Man 2, he was reborn as a gigantic freaking bulldozer in Dr. Wily's castle, but with the quick boomerang, he goes down pretty easy. In Mega Man 7, however, after Wily makes off with a museum copy of Gutsman, the ante is upped when you get through the first stage of his castle there. Gutsman is now remade into Gutsman G, complete with tank feet, a grabber claw, and mean as heck. The Slash Claw or a charged up Noise Crush can do damage to him when you use it to send his boulders back at him. But when he pinches his claw, switch to the Mega Buster and keep him back with regular Mega Buster pellets, lest you want to eat ceiling for dinner. Painfully. All in all, I gotta say, I really admire Gutsman's tenacity. For one who only relies on his fists and brawn, he's as durable and everlasting as a rock. Oh gosh! Why'd I have to go there? There's no way. There's just no way. I mean, I've thought about it long and hard. I've deliberated on it, and I've looked for possible alternatives, but there is just no way at all that I can leave him off this list. I mean, I'm afraid if I do put him on the list, people will think I'm being biased, but if I don't put him on the list, people think that my love for Mega Man isn't pure enough. I feel like this is a no-win situation. Then again, maybe I'm just overthinking things, so screw it. Let's put him on the list. Here he is, folks. You knew he was coming. Yes, Metal Man from Mega Man 2 is my number 2 favorite Robot Master. The very same Robot Master I use as my avatar. The very same Robot Master that is the internet facade for Buzzsaw the Righteous. Only colored in green. Yeah, have you noticed in my intro that the Metal Man sprites are colored green? That's how you distinguish me from my favorite purple Robot Master. Anyway, Metal Man's stage just screams atmosphere. Or if you want to get okay, stop the video! That is like the third time that line showed up in my video! The monotony is really starting to kill me here. I gotta fire my scriptwriter. Wait. I write my own scripts. And that means... you're fired. 2 weeks later...
Alright, sir. What makes you think you're a good fit for Buzzsaw the Righteous Productions? Tell me, what are your qualifications?
Well, I don't get along with a lot of people. I type 5 words a minute and I take a lot of breaks.
Is there anything else you can provide?
Well, I also do have this neato boo pen.
That's perfect! Perfect! You got the job! Congratulations! Alright! Thank you!
Hey, what can I say? I'm my own boss. I'm my own worst enemy. Anyway, to get metaphorical on your derriere, this stage brings heavy metal to a whole new level. Conveyor belts, spiked hydraulic presses, drills coming out of the floor and ceiling, strange-looking clowns on gears. And I'll tell you what, this music is great and keeps to the industrial theme nicely. But if they added a heavy metal guitar riff to a future remake, my head would explode. Metal Man is a bit of a pushover though. Watch your feet as he can manipulate the conveyor belt without warning, and he attacks wildly with the metal blades when you attack him. Brings you meaning to the term, the best offense is a good defense, I guess. He gains points for his level and music, but is cemented onto the spot for his weapon, the metal blade. And you know what? I don't care what anyone says. This is the ultimate weapon. The holy grail of Robot Master weapons. And I promise I was being objective when I said that. I am not biased! Sure, many gamers today view it as overrated and overpowered, but to older gamers like me, this weapon was awesome to have. Fire in all 8 directions and use a lot less weapon energy. Oh, interesting side note, you fight Metal Man in Dr. Wily's castle again, and when you use his very own weapon on him, he dies in 2 hits. 2! He could have very easily taken the #1 spot, but apart from not being biased towards an obvious choice, Metal Man could have been a bit more harder to beat. So close and yet so far. Let's go over the various qualifications for this list. Design, stage, music, theme, difficulty, weapon, and even things like notability like Belayed Sacrifice or Gutsman's numerous appearances. All of the Robot Masters on this list at least have a small sampling of these characteristics, and they don't have to be the best, they just have to be unique. The top 3 have most, if not all, of these qualities, and I dare say Metal Man could have indeed taken the top spot. But then again, Metal Man isn't a freaking vampire! Yes, friends, I deliberated long and hard about this. Even over the likes of Metal Man, I consider Shade Man from Mega Man 7 my most favorite of the bunch. But why, you ask? Well, just look! Look at this stage! It's like Castlevania, but with robots! Under the guise of a full moon, you are fighting robotic zombies, ravens, nightheads, knights on wheels, werewolves, freaking werewolves! You're also avoiding batantons while getting past smashing traps and, of course, spikes. and fighting a pumpkin mini-boss in 2 different ways and therefore opening 2 different paths. And one path has you in a dark room which you can light up with the Thunderbolt or Scorch Wheel, as well as a creepy elevator where zombies get the jump on you. I'm not even halfway done. You also get the energy balancer here, and you fight Proto Man in this stage for his Proto Shield in a secret boss battle. And the music! It definitely fits the dark and Halloween-esque atmosphere, but that's not the only surprise. At the select screen, hold B button while selecting Shade Man and listen to this nugget. Well, I gotta say, I love the Ghouls and Ghosts homage, but now the memories are coming back. Memories of illusions and traps devised by Satan. No! Make the bad memories go away! All of this, and we haven't even gotten to Shade Man yet. His design is fascinating. He really rocks the combined motif of a vampire and a bat, and he courteously bows as he prepares to blow you to kingdom come. How gentlemanlike. And let me tell you, if you don't have the Wild Coil, you are in for a, pardon the pun, horrific time. His attacks include a swooping attack where if he catches you, well, do they do blood transfusions for robots? And he also has a stone gaze that will petrify you, leaving you open for his noise crush weapon. Like with Snake Man and his animalistic theme and Mercury with his liquid metal movement, I gotta say his battle style and stance really speaks to his vampire theme to a certain degree, as vampires are known in various lore to be intelligent chess masters. They really put a lot of apparent thought and energy into Shade Man, and man am I impressed. And though the Noise Crush may not be as useful as the Super Arm or as notable as the Metal Blade, but it is incredibly unique. You fire a sound wave and it bounces off of walls, but if the wave hits you, you absorb it, allowing you to fire a charged Noise Crush attack. That is cool. It can be used on the 3rd Wily boss, and I didn't know until recently that it was effective against Gutsman G. Who knew making some noise could deflect freaking boulders? There were so many Robot Masters I could have chosen for this list, but the ones I chose all had a lot of things going for them. They brought neat qualities to the table and then some, and really earned a place of honor as my all-time favorites. True, Metal Man is my representative best, and he's got the most, but Shade Man has a little of everything, and he does it all with style, making him my most all-time favorite Robot Master. To quote Ash Williams from Army of Darkness, "Hail to the king, baby." My name is Buzzsaw the Righteous, and I cannot wait for the release of Mega Man 11. And I hope I can one day get my hands on a Switch so I can play it. You will be mine one day. Oh yes, you will. Thanks for watching, and until we meet again, look sharp and stay righteous, my friends.
this episode now! Hasta la vista, baby.